So as we're entering the Independence Day celebration here in the United States, I wanted to take a minute and address something that has come up from time to time in people that I've spoken with over the years. And that's the idea of what makes America, the United States, what makes America unique? Or the phrase American Exceptionalism, what does that even mean? Doesn't every country think they are exceptional? Doesn't every country think they are unique? So what does that mean? What is unique about the United States? What makes the United States exceptional? That's what I'm going to talk about today, so let's get started. So as we begin here, it is true that in most countries, the people who live there think their country is unique, and by definition, it is. It's one of a kind. That is that one country. And the phrase comes up, American Exceptionalism, and often that phrase is misunderstood. People think it means we're better than, or we're greater than, or we're superior than. And that's not really the origin of what that means. There are two primary things that come to mind when speaking of the idea of the uniqueness of America or the idea of American exceptionalism. And they're rooted in the Declaration of Independence, which is a document that I think is inspired in one of the greatest documents ever written. But in there, we have first the idea of where do our rights come from as citizens? This was a radical departure from the way that government had worked throughout most all of human history. The idea was the government itself didn't provide the rights. The government was there to secure the rights that were given to you by the mere fact of you existing, or more specifically in the Declaration, you were endowed by your Creator with rights. In other words, you have those rights. They are God-given rights. The government doesn't give them to you. Because if the government gives them to you, the government can take them away. And so this was very unique. Instead of having a king, and a king who could declare that your right to do this or your right to do that, the idea was, no, we all have those rights inherently simply because we are one of God's creation. That was a pretty unique idea, a pretty radical idea, and it was exceptional, the exception to the rule from the way that governments had worked. So that was the first one, is that the rights that you have as a citizen, they don't come from the government. The other one, though, is equally as radical, equally unique, equally exceptional. And that was the fact that the government has power only because the people give the government power. The government gets their power through the consent of the governed. Meaning the government is not ultimately the one in charge, the one in control. The people are. The citizens are. Instead of having a high king ruling over everyone, the people, that's where the power is actually located. And the people choose to give some of their power to the government in order to be governed. Because there are certain things that it makes sense. The government is going to take care of treaties between one nation and another. You can't have every single individual citizen trying to create a treaty with every other government. So clearly there's role there for government. There's purpose there for government. But that was unique. That was unusual. That was not the way that most of the governments worked. In general, people were ruled by kings. They were ruled by dictators. They were ruled by monarchy. That was a normal form of government. And so whatever power you had as a citizen is whatever the king allowed you to have, or whatever the government allowed you to have. In the United States, that's not how it was designed to work. And again, both of these go back to the Declaration of Independence. Both are listed in the Declaration of Independence. It's something that I highly recommend everybody read. Because this week, we are not celebrating the fact that it's just the 4th day in the month of July. We are celebrating Independence Day, the day when we declared independence, when we said our rights come from God and the government only has power because us as citizens, we choose to give some of our power to the government for them to govern us. We're the ones with the power, the citizens. We're the ones with rights who came from God. Those two things, those are pretty unique and pretty exceptional in the way that governments have worked throughout history.